Right. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Greetings. My name is Amaya Noguera, and I'm the program officer for the African American Trauma Informed Wellness Program with the Center at Sierra Health. So a few logistics before we begin. This session is being recorded on Zoom and Facebook Live with hopes that it's a resource and something that we can reference beyond this meeting. We would love it if you could please sign in. And we can continue to share updates and events in the future. If you should have any questions or comments, we ask that you please use the Q&A down in the chat box so that we can capture those questions and be able to respond to them at the end. But in order for us to kick this off right, I would like to introduce my boss and the leader in this work, Kendra Montgomery Block. Currently, Kendra is the Associate Director of Community Economic Development with the Sierra Health Foundation Center. She is the lead staff to the Build Black Legacy campaign and the Black Child Legacy campaign and the Build Black initiative. In this role, Kendra oversees the funding and impact strategy for the initiative.
Thanks, Amaya. I want to say welcome to not only our stakeholders, but our Facebook friends and any of our community partners that are really looking for a space around resources and healing. Today, we thought that it would be really important that we bring our community together and provide resources and connection to services should you or any of your loved ones need it. Maya's right. I am Kendra Montgomery Block. I'm the Associate Director of Community and Economic Development at the Sierra Health Foundation and the Center. And I have the really esteemed honor of leading the Black Child Legacy Campaign, the Build Black Initiative, and a host of other really health equity and health justice focused efforts locally in Sacramento and also throughout the state. We are so excited here at the Foundation and the Center today because, again, this is a special space. We are working, targeting African American folks, indigenous, people of color, our LGBTQ friends, to really make sure that in Sacramento County, we have unique resources to support our families and our friends. I also want to give the opportunity to announce our newest initiative, which Amaya Noguera leads, which is our Trauma-Informed Wellness Project and partners. This is a really phenomenal project in that we get to connect not only the behavioral health services of the Sacramento County Department of Behavioral Health, but we also get to intertwine our African American stakeholders and, again, make sure that those resources, those families, those individuals that find themselves in any type of wellness crisis, whether that be physically, financially, mentally, socially, that there's the Black Child Legacy campaign, the many stakeholders, and now the new Trauma-Informed Wellness Initiative. Excited. Thank you for joining us. Let this be a resource. Please like, share, and share the knowledge of what we want to bring here today around healing, justice for our beloved Sacramento. Thank you, Amaya.
Thank you so much, Kendra. So thank you all again for joining us today for the We Heal Together, George Floyd and Ma'Khia Bryant Townhall, centering equity, healing, and resources, as Kendra mentioned. We know that oppression is traumatic, and our oppression as Black people has been on display since the start of this country. The trauma runs deep and is multifaceted. In order for us to break or disrupt those generational and often internalized cycles, we have to understand them in the nature of the wound. And then we can begin the process of healing. To help ground us and lead us in prayer, I would like to invite Pastor Les Simmons, who is a native of Sacramento. He is a community leader, advocate, and pastor who has been on the front lines of the battle for equality, justice, and inclusion in the South Sacramento community and beyond. He serves as senior pastor of the South Sacramento Christian Center, SSCC, an organization committed to the well-being and healthy development of all Sacramento residents, especially youth. At SSCC, Les leads a team of staff who operate programs to reduce child mortality, prevent gang violence, and provide youth education, mentorship, and employment. as well as recreational activities such as skate nights and basketball nights through the Simmons Community Center. In 2019, the Sacramento Kings donated the floor from Golden One Arena to the center. Before COVID-19, the Simmons Community Center every month served more than 1,000 youth and adults who reflect the full racial and ethnic diversity of South Sacramento. Since the pandemic, SSCC has pivoted to providing weekly food boxes for more than 300 families and operating a coronavirus testing site. Les has been a fierce advocate and leading voice for police reform since he was appointed as the first chair of the Sacramento Police Commission. His demands for police accountability and reform, which ultimately led to his resignation and protest in 2016, are now echoed at an international level after the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and so many more. In recent years, he has been deeply involved in direct violence interruption activities and has played an important role in advocating for policy changes at the state level through his leadership in Sacramento ACT, an organization of local faith-based organizations committed to social justice. He is also a strong advocate on injustices for the treatment of immigrant families and children across the border. Les is a core leader and chair of Build Black, a group focused on inclusive economic development for the Black community, created after the death of Stephon Clark. Build Black has partnered with Sacramento Kings and implemented Kings and Queens Rise, an annual youth summer sports league. This partnership also encourages Black small businesses' growth and development through grants programs and advocacy at the city and county level for equitable use of public resources for economic development in Sacramento's communities of color. Welcome, Pastor Les.
Thank you, and it's good to be in our space, our virtual healing space this afternoon. As you said, I'm Les Simmons, Senior Pastor of South Sacramento Christian Center. I know most of you that are watching and viewing with us, and for those that I don't know, it's good to see you, and thank you for being in the space. Before I ground us in a prayer out of my Christian faith tradition, I do know that there are other faith traditions in the space as well, and I will have a moment of pause to acknowledge and recognize those faith traditions that are all in this space, because today we're going to need to draw from whatever source of strength and faith tradition that you pull love, you pull healing, and you pull support from. Before I do, I want to ground us in this story out of my faith tradition found in this passage around 2 Kings. And many of you that have been a part of the Glory Conference over the years have heard this passage lifted up, that there was a story of a mother who had a son that was promised to her, and that son was out working with his dad one day, and as he was out working, he began to cry out and say, my head, my head. And as he cried out, he sent the boy to sit with his mother, and as he sat with his mother, he actually passed away. That particular day, the mom was not going to take it. She was fed up. She left and went and found a healer. As she went and found the healer called out to her and said, hey, is everything okay? And she acknowledged, she said, all is well. She didn't release her pain until she finally approached the healer. It's when she approached the healer that all of the trauma, all of the pain that she was carrying there began to be unpacked, and she was able to release. Today, our hope is you are able to release after this past year of the trauma through George Floyd and then the trial and reliving the incident all over again, after the challenges with Breonna Taylor and her losing her life being cut short, Dante Wright, Micaiah Bryant, and so many others, including Stephon Clark. We've been saying, my head, my head, my head. Our goal today is that you're able to release that pain and we can heal together and move on from here together. I want to take a moment of silence and ask you, if you're not driving or you're in a virtual space where you can bow your head, I want you to begin to draw faith, draw love, draw strength, draw healing from whatever you draw it from, And I'm going to pray out of my Christian faith tradition after this moment of silence. Heavenly Father, we acknowledge you in this space. My prayer today is that as we bring you in this virtual space, in our offices, in our homes, in our cars, that we begin to draw strength now that we can let go because we are in a place of healing. We can say, my head has been hurting. I've been carrying a pain and a burden for so long. And here we are at a moment to release that, to feel that pain with strength, to feel that hurt with healing and hope, to feel even hate with love. Lord, we ask you to lift our spirits today as we heal together. In Jesus' name, amen. I want to thank you guys for your time, and we're looking forward to an empowering time together today.
Thank you so much, Pastor Les, and I appreciate the moment of silence. We would like to invite Safe Black Space to lead us through some healing activities at this time.
All right, thank you, everyone. My name is Dr. Christy Higgins, and I'm one of the co-founders and the president of Safe Black Space. And we are an organization that evolved out of the killing of Stephon Clark. And we provide monthly healing circles specifically for Black people to come together in times like this, to really have a place to honor our experiences and to learn and to heal from each other. I'm not going to say a whole lot more about that at this point, but give an opportunity for my brother, our treasurer, Guy Allison, to lead us through a libation, because part of what we believe is connecting to our ancient ways of being, our cultural practices, and embracing the love of who we are as Black people and our Africanness is important. And so he is going to talk a little bit about it and then lead us through that. And then I will lead us through a couple other opportunities to express, to vent, to connect, and to heal. So Guy, I'm going to pull up the screen like we shared, like we talked about.
All right, thank you, Dr. Christie, and thank you for everyone who is joining today. And as Dr. Christie said, that at Safe Black Space, we always like to honor those who have come before us, and we do that through a libation. And so a libation is just simply a ritual that is ancient and that's rooted in our tradition to honor our ancestors, to honor our loved ones who have passed and gone before us, those who are near and dear to our hearts. And so I'm going to offer or ask you all to join us in this point of libation as we gather in remembrance of those who have gone before us, on whose shoulders we stand. We stand in community with all who are here, all who wanted to be here, but have not yet arrived. We welcome them in the spirit of Ubuntu, standing as one people. So I believe there should be some drums because we do want to, if not, that's okay. We do want to invite you all, if you can, if there is someone who passed that you just want to acknowledge and honor, if you can, just put their name in the chat. That includes the panelists here. If there's someone who has gone before, has meant a lot to you, or someone in our history, someone who has done a lot for our people, for our community, whose back we stand upon. And so while you do that, take a moment to just feel the drum beats and breathe just for a couple seconds. And so, I'm going to honor my grandparents, Ned and Jeannie Miles. And what we do is that we have some affirmations. And so I'm going to just say a couple affirmations and invite you to say this word, Ashe. It just simply means, and so it is, let it be, similar to saying amen, when you're testifying, and just wanted to honor those who have gone before us. And so We're going to pour this libation for the creator in the spirit of our African tradition. We gather now and pour libations, and together we say Ashe.
Ashe.
For African people everywhere, the original people, we pour libations and say Ashe.
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 For our struggle and in remembrance of those who have struggled on our behalf, we pour libations and say Ashe.
Ashe.
For all those who have died of senseless violence in our communities throughout history, we pour libations and say Ashe.
Ashe.
And on this final affirmations, we're going to say it 3 times. Say Ashe 3 times. And we're just going to, again, pour libations for the creator so that it is all satisfied in this gathering together as we honor our ancestors. Say Ashe.
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 All right. Thank you all.
Well, thank you, Guy. All right. So I'm now going to move us through, now that we have honored our ancestors, we've had our prayer, we're ready to move into some healing. And we're going to do 2 different activities today because in some ways we might be feeling activated physically, that all the stress, all the death, all the killing, all the stories that we've been hearing and experiencing, we can hold in our bodies. And so I want to give us an opportunity to get some of that out. And then after that, I'm going to give us an opportunity to turn inward a bit and do some visualization. So I'm going to invite you, I'm going to give you some instructions in a minute, but we're going to do what's called a wood chopper exercise. It's a fire exercise. And it's a way to begin to, I'm going to begin to shift because I'm going to demonstrate for you, but it's a way that we can begin to shift our state, our current kind of way of being and feeling. In expressing ourselves vocally and physically. It may awaken things in us, but it also is an opportunity to begin to shift, to release, to let go of things like anger and anxiety and stress that we may be holding on to. And so it does involve some yelling, some getting loud. And so if you're in a place where you might need to shut the door or peek out real quick and be like, I'm cool in here, right? But I'm going to be doing some releasing so nobody gets alarmed, right? Especially as Black people, it can be concerning if there's yelling going on. We don't want the police called. So I'm going to demonstrate for you so you get it, but I'm also going to ask you to go ahead and stand up if you are able to so that you can engage in this practice. But basically, we are going to try to move. You may not be able to see my full body, but I'll try to describe what I'm going to do. But you're going to want to intertwine your fingers, right? So all your fingers are intertwined, but keep your forefinger, your pointing finger, and your thumb out, okay? And you're going to want to squat down, put your legs shoulder length apart. Make sure you have enough room because you know how if you are going to move your arms, you need enough room to get into this. But you're going to want to put your your feet kind of shoulder width apart, kind of bend down a little bit. We're going to connect with our root chakra and we're going to connect with our throat chakra and engage in this practice together. And I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. Your hands are going to be together like this, right? And we're going to start with, I'll demonstrate first and we'll do it together, right? But you're going to start kind of kneeling down. And as you do that, you're going to inhale. And then you're going to bring your arms up with that same inhale. And then you're going to bring your arms down just straight as though you're chopping wood with your legs. You're exhaling. And with that exhale, you're going to say, ha! Right? I don't mean to scare anybody, but that's the process. I'll demonstrate it once and then we're going to do it together. Ready? So you're going to inhale. Okay. You're going to inhale down, breathe in and up, and then, all right, I see some of you are already at it. I see some of you are doing it, but we're going to do it together. Ready? If you're not driving, try to work this out. If maybe you're in a place where you're like, I can't do all that, I don't have enough room, or I'm concerned other people might be alarmed by that, get a pillow and do it into your pillow, okay? Or if you're in your car, go ahead, turn the music up real loud so the people in the next car don't hear you, and at least do the ha sound, right? The release sound. Ready? So I'm gonna go a little bit to the side, so I got plenty of room, but I'm bending my legs, hip width apart, shoulder width apart. I'm gonna breathe in. You ready? Breathe in. Arms up. Do it again. Arms up, breathe. And one more time. All right, all right. If you want to keep going at it, you can. If we were in person or we had a little bit more time, the invitation is do it as long as you feel like you need to, as long as you are feeling the need to move that energy and get it out of your body. What you might find for some of you is that's a little uncomfortable, right? For people who may be dealing with grief or loss, and many of us are, especially right now, it might bring up feelings like you want to cry, like you want to release in that way. For some folks, the energy might come out as laughter, right? Where you just feel kind of light and giggly, and that's okay. Don't control it, right? For other folks, it may be like, this makes me uncomfortable to yell in this way because I'm more quiet, I'm more reserved, I've been holding things in. And yet that release allows us to use our voice to express ourselves in that way. And then for some people, we're just used to talking it out or yelling it out in terms of using words. And to not have the opportunity to use words is just another way to express and to let go. So, I don't know about y'all, but I'm a little out of breath, right? So take a minute to settle in, to allow that energy to work through you. I'm curious because we're going to transition now to more quiet space, right? We did all that releasing, and now I'm going to ask you to turn inward. But before we do, put in the chat, let me know how that was for you. Did you let some things out? Did it feel like something you might use on your own? I encourage you to, when things feel like they're beginning to bubble up, to allow that to be an exercise and activity, like chopping wood, right? You could imagine it's somebody's or something's head on the chopping block that you need to get rid of, right? But just the releasing and letting go. All right, I'm seeing some folks felt like that was pretty good. That was amazing. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. All right. I'm turning on my speaker because we're going to shift now into that more internal reflective space. So now the invitation is get settled where you are, get comfortable. If you need, again, to shut the door or turn off the ringer on your phone or do whatever that might just allow you to presence yourself right now. I'm going to play a song in the background. And I want you to just kind of take the words in, take the melody in. I'll do a little bit of speaking over it, but just holding on to this idea, the reality that things will get better. Despite all the darkness, despite the challenges that we may be facing, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And we're part of that, right? When we come together like this and are able to rely on and connect with each other. Okay, so if you're comfortable, go ahead, close your eyes. If you're on Facebook, you can close your eyes, but I know sometimes on screen, it can feel a little awkward to think other people are looking at me and I got my eyes shut. So do what you need to for the next few moments. And as we begin or prepare to begin, I invite you to breathe kind of deeply and evenly. And to consider before we begin, just taking a few settling breaths. And settling breaths is founded on this idea of, again, settling our nervous system. Recognizing that as we inhale, we actually activate our nervous system. We can feel a little bit more anxious. And so we want to inhale for the count of 2 and hold it for a moment. And then exhale for the count of 4. Because as we exhale, that's when our nervous system is deactivated and we can feel more relaxed. So we want to breathe in for a shorter amount of time and breathe out for a longer amount of time. And I'm going to lead us through maybe 3 settling breaths together, and then we'll get the music going. So when you're ready, let's breathe in for a count of 1, 2, pause, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, and inhale, 1, 2, pause, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, and inhale, 1, 2, pause, and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. I see some people already beginning to release, to relax. So just continue breathing now at your own pace and take in the music and allow yourself to just sit and to be in this sense of love and understanding.
There will be better days. There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
Believe that.
There will be better days.
I am already under.
We're protected.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
Breathe that in.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me. Let the wave wash over me.
Let it wash over you.
I am already under.
You're there. All is well.
Let the wave wash over me. Let the wave wash over me.
Just let it go. Let it all go.
Let the wave wash over me.
You can just be right here, right now.
I am already under. Let the wave wash over.
Just let it wash all over you.
There will be better days. There will be better days. There will be better days.
Change is happening.
Better days. There will be better
It's coming. We're all a part of it. There will be better days. Sing that, say that in your head or out loud. That's it, that's it. There will be better days. Just let it wash all over you. That's it. Wash over you. Despite how things look. Let it wash over you. Let it wash over you. For all of us. Yes, breathe that in. There will be better days.
There will be better days.
There will be better days. There will be better days. There will be better days.
There will be better days. There will be better days. There will be better days. And take another moment to breathe that in. And when you're ready, if you had your eyes closed, feel free to open them. You may want to stretch, right? Sometimes doing that, we can feel it in our body, shake it out. Then give yourself a great big old hug. Show yourself some love, some beautiful Black self-love. Get the other side, go on ahead, switch it up. Love on yourself, love on each other, love on our community. And then exhale one last good time, letting it all go. And trust and believe there will be better days. Ashe. Thank you, Amaya.
Thank you so much, Dr. Christie, and I really truly appreciate you all. And Pastor Lemons with the prayer. Like I don't even know how much I needed this really until the moment I started to shake and feel like I was gonna cry. And then I said, oh my goodness, I've been holding too much and I'm not even in my body that I can't feel it. So thank you so much. Before I introduce our next special guest, I just want to say, you know, this has been a difficult year with the pandemic. This has been a difficult time for I think parents, for kids, for like I don't know who hasn't been affected in the past year by events that are so beyond our realm of normalcy, right? And amidst all of that, we've had to deal with, you know, the regular trauma of everyday living, right? And the exacerbated traumas. And so this work is definitely not new. It didn't start as a result of the pandemic. It started long before. But it became a true necessity and a very timely thing for us to take on. And so I want to invite Ms. Deborah Deloney Deans to come and share some of the story. But first I will explain a little bit about who Ms. Deborah is. Deborah is a licensed marriage family therapist with over 30 years of experience in the public service. The first half of her professional career was with the California Department of Corrections as correctional officer, parole agent supervisor, and administrator. In 2007, Deborah transitioned from law enforcement to mental health. She began her career with Sacramento County in February 2011 at the Mental Health Treatment Center as a senior mental health counselor. Deborah is now a human services program planner with the Cultural Competence Ethnic Services Unit and is responsible for program development, contract monitoring, and a host of other duties related to providing culturally appropriate services to the culturally and linguistically diverse communities throughout Sacramento County. Deborah is passionate and serious about her work and takes pride in bringing unique ideas and concepts to the county and community. Something she can often be quoted saying is, teamwork makes the dream work. And though we may have all different ideas of the American dream, one thing is for sure, no man is an island. We need each other. And Deborah has both hands, both feet, her head and her heart in the game to bring healing, hope, and acceptance to all people, but especially the African American Black communities of Sacramento and beyond. I'm honored to welcome Ms. Deborah Deloney. Deborah, I believe you're on mute.
Okay, here we go. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being in this space. Thank you for the center hosting this town hall and the invitations going out and being accepted. We truly thank you for being here. And like you, Amaya, I was a little bit taken aback by the level of roar that came out during the exercise. I didn't realize I was holding all that in. So my role here today is basically to support the center and the 4, 5, 6, 7 provider agencies that are working with us to bring trauma-informed wellness services to the Sacramento County community, the African American communities of Sacramento County. We are really, I can't share with you how excited we are that this work is actually being done in the community now. Dr. Christie, Miss Lillian, and a few others on the call, Pastor Les, have been with us from the very beginning. As a matter of fact, I think Pastor Les was at that first mental health board meeting where they asked the question, what is being done for African Americans in Sacramento County with regards to trauma and healing? And there were crickets in the room that day. And that's what really got this ball rolling back in 2018, asking that very important question, where are the services for African Americans? Because we have a unique trauma history and we experience trauma very differently than other people. And it's complex and it's compounded daily with just everyday struggles. So on behalf of Dr. Ryan Quist, the Director of Mental Health, and Mary Nakamura, the Cultural Competence Ethnic Services Program Manager, we want to say thank you to the center and Sierra Health Foundation and all of the partners who have said yes to doing this work with us. We are here to help our community thrive, live their best lives, and experience some peace and joy. I don't want to wait till I give over to the other side to have some joy and some peace. I want to feel some of that right now. I don't want to wait until I'm dead and gone to give flowers or to give thanks to the people that have helped me on my journey. And I'm giving back what was given to me. So I can appreciate being here. I'm really, really thankful to be here. I'm really happy that these provider agencies who are just off the hook with experience and knowledge and wisdom and experience, and they're bringing all of that passion and knowledge and wisdom to the services that they're delivering in the communities all over Sacramento County. If you haven't heard, open your ears, open your eyes, see, hear, tell somebody, share what you hear, and let the word be known that we are out here, we are doing our part to make Sacramento healthier, more whole, happier, more content in our personal lives, and healed from the trauma that we've experienced on a daily basis. I know it's hard some days to just keep pushing forward, but as my grandmother used to say, we ain't got no other choice. Moving forward is what we know how to do, hook or crook, by any means necessary. But now we're learning some healthier tools about how to move forward. We're learning some wisdom and some knowledge and getting some information that will help us on our journey from professionals like Dr. Christie and Miss Tina and all of the other Safe Black Space and the Rose Family Center. All of them have their own special and unique ways of bringing healing and knowledge and wisdom to the communities. And I'm just excited to be a part of that process. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much, Deborah. I now have the opportunity and distinguished pleasure to introduce our African American Trauma Informed Wellness cohort with you all. But before I do, I would like to invite I will invite him a little later. I apologize. We have developed a beautiful bond over the course of the last few months. And the Center at Sierra Health, in partnership with Sacramento County Behavioral Health Services, awarded 4 Sacramento organizations to support outreach, engagement, prevention services for the African American Black community members. They are such a phenomenal group of pure equity warriors. I promise you, it is such a pleasure of mine to have time with them every week to help hear about what's happening in the community on the ground and be someone who can help pour light and life into them as they replenish themselves and go back out to do it again. So They are here to ensure we are providing safety, wellness, and resources to those in most need. And trauma-informed care is only as accessible as the support we can provide. So I'm so, so grateful to be able to support them in this journey. We know that generational trauma is real and powerful, but so is generational healing. And so the focus of today is around what we can do. We have some tangible tools Dr. Christie has provided, but also we would like to extend invitations for anyone and everyone to be able to access these resources that are available to you. So without further ado, I would like to present to you this group of phenomenal equity warriors. And Ms. Roberts, if you would like to take it away.
Mrs. Roberts, you're on mute.
I'm so excited. So excited. There will be better days. Thank you, Dr. Christie. When you think about it, 7 years ago, there was no Black Child Legacy. And just 3 years ago, trauma wellness was just a conversation. So yes, I know there are going to be better days. I would first like to thank Sierra Health Foundation for creating opportunities and demonstrating care and concern for our Black communities. For the past 20 years, Roberts Family Development Center has been in service to the community through our after-school educational services and our summer Freedom School, which we do in partnership with Children's Defense Fund. For the past 5 years, we have served as one of the Black Child Legacy incubators, serving the Del Paso North Sac community. Along with our partners, and notice I say partners because no one can do this alone, no entity. Along with our partners, our services include case management, linkage to housing, food, employment, health services, and juvenile probation. During COVID, we partnered with Sierra Health Foundation to provide extra support to the community with delivering food, providing limited support for paying of utilities, rent, and other hardships due to COVID. We also assisted the county in coordinating and setting up 3 vaccine stations in our community. Our new healing network will focus on connecting our families to mental wellness with providers that look like them for individual and/or group counseling and talking sessions, because sometimes our families need just what Dr. Christie did for us. You know, just a place, an opportunity to breathe. We will also continue to provide opportunities to continue to engage our families in listening sessions, because we want to make sure that we are in tune to what their needs are. And then we will also have other activities that will assist in decreasing stress and address trauma. With that being said, we remain grateful to be able to continue to serve. And with that, I'll pass it on to ONTRACK.
You're on mute as well.
Will, thank you. Thank you so much. Should I bring up the PowerPoint or will you bring it up from your end?
I believe it will be for you to bring up, but Monica,
Okay.
can you stop sharing, please?
All right. Here we go. Here we go. Wonderful. Can you see? Like, oh, thank you so much, Sierra Health Foundation and Trauma Informed Wellness colleagues, and those of you from our community who are joining us for this space. I know I needed that. What was it called? Wood chopper? More than I had. I didn't know I needed it like that. and we need each other, don't we? I'm Lillian Glambin from ONTRACK Program Resources, and just really honored to be one of the grantees that are launching. Really, it's a movement. It's a movement of services for us, by us, to fill the gaps. So for our healing and for our very life itself. ONTRACK has been around for, let me make this a little smaller, for a good little while, since 1997. But we've been doing statewide training and consultation with an expertise in substance use disorders and mental health services for folks who look like us, for underserved communities. And after all those years of providing that expertise and identifying where the gaps were, we realized it was time for us to put our foot in it, if you will. And with that, we have launched a new program called Soul Space here in Sacramento to fill a gap that has been there. We know when it comes to mental health services that are for African Americans, by African Americans, that, while this is no disparagement amongst the many providers, the fine providers that that do serve the Sacramento County area, that this particular focus has been one that, at least for the last several years, has been missing. And so we are offering Soul Space to Sacramento. It's a culturally responsive health home with a focus on providing case management and referrals and support services for individuals who are having any in need of support around their mental health and substance use needs. And so we have just started with even offering some trainings. Some may have seen our materials around, so we know how stressed folks can be around money. So one of our first trainings that we're offering is get off the struggle bus and get on the road to liberation. And I can put that in the chat, the flyer. We're launching our first round of it in the month of April, and we're going to be launching a second one in May. And in addition to the 4 weeks of the training, there'll be 2 months afterwards of one-on-one work with the facilitators to help relieve that stress around money. But there are many other things that we'll be offering through Soul Space. Again, the one-on-one case management. We are also providing a mental health first aid, and our facilitators are African American, and we try to do our best to make sure that our trainers are training, us and those who serve us, and we're happy to do it. That there have been many times where folks have said the way ONTRACK does mental health first aid is the way it needs to be done. Our facilitators are gifted at creating a space where empathy, empowerment, fill the space along with the curriculum. And so we are offering those also through this particular grant. And we are thrilled through this particular grant funding to be in partnership with the Oakdale School in Twin Rivers under the principalship of Dr. Raja. We're a little behind schedule because with the schools being closed, but we're partnering on hands-on mentor program where we'll be providing mentorship to, we're aiming for 100 Black children in the Oakdale School, and training their mentors and trauma-informed service, and working with families and providing support groups and referral services and for families, so that the children and the families thrive from a trauma-informed wellness perspective. And so we look forward to being able to give you updates on how that's all going. Like I said, like for this one in particular, the schools are just getting back up and running. So we're going to be offering a training to the mentors next month in May. but really looking forward to children being back. And we're, I think we're all of us who are serving children, we know that this is a challenging time, but really just grateful to be here with you, and whatever time for discussion that we have. Do want to mention, given the purpose of this particular, I'm going to stop sharing this particular town hall, that, as we have much to celebrate in terms of the George Floyd verdict, but one way or another, we know that there were issues. There were behavioral health issues. Micaiah Bryant, but clearly there were some behavioral health issues. There's a, should I pull it up? I won't try. I won't do a screen share again, but I was just looking at a chart. This is from the California Open Justice Portal from 2019, that when it comes to use of force, that we know that when we call for help, like what happened with Micaiah Bryant, that the outcome is often tragic, where someone who is clearly having some kind of mental health crisis, who has melanin, the outcomes can be lethal. And so I just want to honor that dimension of why we're here, and that this is why we need to expand the competency of services for us, the mental health and behavioral health services. And I'm glad that we are here as a part of that solution, working in partnership with the county, so that in Sacramento, there are better outcomes for our people. Thank you. And with that, I pass.
Thank you. And we'd like to hear from the Rose Family Creative Empowerment Center.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Christie, I really want to thank you for that healing today. I didn't know how much I needed it, so I want to thank you for that. I just want to, my name is Jackie Rose, and I'm the founder and CEO of Rose Family Creative Empowerment Center. Rose Family Creative Empowerment Center, we've been a nonprofit for 6 years, but I've been in the community for over 30 years here in South Sacramento, serving our people for all of those years in a community that is now being called Phoenix Park. And I'm really proud of the work that took place in Phoenix Park and all the things we did with Black families over there. So I want to thank Sierra Health today for allowing us to be part of this work. It's been beautiful to watch our families strive, especially our young people. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what we do. We actually are a Black Child Legacy campaign here in the Meadowview community. And really excited about Meadowview, and really turning the corner in regards to trauma and all the things that we do here in Meadowview. We work very closely with the Clark family here in Meadowview, so we're excited about their progress. And if you're on Facebook, you'll see them doing great things. And we're really proud at our incubator at what the Clark family is doing these days. We also are a Healing the Hood site where we provide crisis intervention and intervention, prevention, and interruption. We just kicked off putting together our juvenile diversion program, where we're going to be working with our African-American young men and women who are on probation. So we're really excited about that, because that's also an early intervention program where we're trying to get them before they go into the probation system. So it's wonderful to see that. We also are a after-school provider in South Sacramento. We're at 5 sites in South Sacramento. We serve about 1,000 kids a day. We run 3 learning hubs right now with 48 kids in each one of those learning hubs. We open up Burbank High School tomorrow. I'm excited about kids coming back to school. And so we're at Burbank, we're at John Steele, we're at Susan B. Anthony, we're at Phoenix Park Apartments, and we're at Parkway Elementary School, where we service those young people in an after-school setting. We also, like Roberts Family Development Center, run Freedom School. They're our sister partner in the CDF world with Freedom School. We'll be running 3 sites of Freedom School this summer, getting our kids out of the house and off those couches and really engaging them face to face. So we're excited about that. We also run a arts collective. We have the South Sacramento Youth Arts Collective that we run every Saturday. And before COVID, we were running that every Saturday from 9 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, where the kids came there and got breakfast. They read culturally competent books before they got into their hip hop classes and other classes around dance and arts and music and all of those great things our kids love. We also did a little twist with that program and added parenting classes on Saturday mornings for our parents, because I truly believe that you cannot do anything with folks' kids unless you work with the parents. They have to be involved in the process, and they got to be a part of the whole overall plan. We run resident services at Phoenix Park Apartments and Providence Place Apartments on Mack Road. We also have a new program called Lifeline. It is a program for 50 African-American males at John Steele K-8, and it is a program that focuses on academics, behavior, suspensions, and attendance. And this program is a program that was developed by the city of Sacramento to stop the school to prison pipeline for African-American males in grades 4th through 8th grade. And I'm really excited about that program because our African-American males are in trouble. Our girls are too, but our African-American males are really struggling. We run a collab site here assisting with rental assistance, motel vouchers, and utility assistance for those most vulnerable families. COVID has really hit all of our communities hard. Our families are struggling. We need to be able to provide them with that uplift with some of these financial resources. Some of them are very stressed at this time and going through a lot of traumatic moments because landlords are starting to get wanting to kick them out, and they don't want to be part of the homeless population here. So we are helping with that. We do a number of community events. We do pop-ups twice a month, Kings and Queens Golf. We also have an Elevate Youth Grant where we are starting a youth council where we have youth voice in every fabric of what we do. We need to make sure that the next generation, we pass that baton because I'm not going to be in the seat forever. We need to have some new leaders being developed. And so we are working on that as we speak with Council Member Vang. We also run a vaccination clinic at the Pinnell Center every Friday with the council member in this district with 12 other nonprofits and churches in the Meadowview area. And we're excited about that because we basically are looking for African-American families to get vaccinated. We're really trying to push that. SAC Youth Works is another program that we do. Our kids want to work. Our kids want jobs. They want to be able to learn new skills. So we do that as well. And we also partner with Weave on a special program that I cannot do this work without some great assistance. So I have a wonderful program manager in the way of Tim Poole and Yolanda Stevenson, and I'm going to pass the baton on to Tim Poole for him to tell you a little bit about what he's working on right now.
And so thank you, Ms. Jackie, and peace and blessings to everyone on the call. Some of the areas that we are working, the zip codes consist of 95822, 95823, 95828, 95832. Some of the team partners that we have in the trauma-informed wellness program is Always Knocking, where they'll be working with my brother's Healing Circle. Also, another chance, working with our mental health part. Also working with those with addiction behaviors. Also with Hooked on Fishing, Not on Violence, where right now we have a van full of kids right now. Y'all say hi. Hi. And so we are going to our Healing Circle where we'll be speaking about distance learning and how we can better equip ourselves for going back to school and in-house learning. Also, we're talking about COVID-19. the injustice in America. We're talking about the verdict of George Floyd, the trial of George Floyd and Officer Chauvin. And we're just talking to our youth to find out how we can assist them here at the Rose Family Creative Empowerment Center.
And I just wanted to add to close out that this is a great opportunity. It now connects all of our programs together with the wonderful program of the Trauma Informed Wellness Grant that we got from the Sacramento County Behavioral Health Program. And it's also the missing piece of our vision for our South Sacramento Community Wellness Center right here at 7000 Franklin, where we focus on healing through the arts. And this wellness center will serve as a one-stop shop for the families here in South Sacramento. And through this wellness grant, we're now able to connect everything that we do all together to be able to be that new flame here in Sacramento for helping our families. Some of our additional partners and program activities is Escape Velocity, our Architects of Hope, Sacramento Area Youth Speaks, musical instruments in kids' hands, Pepper Vaughn and his One Step Studio that we're currently working with now at John Steele, Sojourner Truth Multicultural Arts Museum, Family Art with Miss Shona. And then some of our activities, we're going to be doing some hip hop heals with our Black United Women's Sister Circle that connects culture, music, and videos all together to help people to heal through conversation, art workshops, healing circles, Black United Women's Circle, as mentioned before, family-centered community events, and more trauma-informed workshops with Dr. Flo, connecting with that ACEs program that we now have with Sierra Health that we now are connected to. And so we're just really grateful and thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we'd like to invite IYT, Improve Your Tomorrow, to share.
Thank you, Amaya. Just first and foremost, I just want to thank the Sierra Health Foundation. I want to thank all the speakers prior to myself, as well as the other grantees who received the Trauma Informed Wellness Program grant. I'm honored, humbled, and privileged just to be here and really working on affecting lasting change in Sacramento County. So my name is Bryant. I'm the Wellness Counselor for Improve Your Tomorrow. IYT focus on getting young men of color to and through college. And this grant really gives us a wonderful opportunity to focus on exclusively on African American and Black youth. We started in 2013 in one school, Valley High School, with 17 students. And now 8 years later, April is actually our 8-year anniversary. We are in 3 different counties and 20 plus schools serving over 1,500 young men. One thing that COVID really did was exacerbate already existing issues. And we surveyed our young men and we wanted to know what was going on. How has COVID really affected you and your family? And the main thing was just grades decreasing, of course, and increased stress and anxiety. So this grant will give us the opportunity to provide, again, focused and exclusive mentorship to our African-American young men, do workshops with them, continue working with their families. And one of our wraparound services is parent engagement. And that will be a prime focus for us as we continue to work with our young men through mentorship. And again, those workshops that are going to be crucial. So informing people about what trauma is, because a lot of people don't know, right? Starting at that square one point is really going to be important because we're so used to just fighting. We don't even know what it may be, right? And those feelings and those emotions and those thoughts that come up surrounding that is really going to be a focal point for us. To close us out, one of our key values at IYT is resilience. And as Black folks, we know how to be resilient. We really, really do. So leaning into that and not just stopping at the trauma-informed piece. We want to be trauma-informed, but we really want to be strengths-based. So we want to move to that healing center piece. And that is the most important thing, I think, is going to be something that we focus on. Again, thank you to all the grantees. Thank you to Sierra Health Foundation. And thank you for everyone being here. This is a wonderful opportunity. And we're looking forward to getting to work. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all. Like, As I mentioned before, these are phenomenal people I have the pleasure of convening with and talking to them about what's going on. And I want to pause and take a second to go back to the last slide and give an opportunity for anyone to take a picture of these events and resources. We will always extend the invitation, but I want to uplift those and hold those up because those are definitely resources for you all to tap into.
Amaya, one of the things I wanted to underscore with the information you have here are the Department of Health Services, saccounty.net mental health services page. A lot of the services that you guys are offering, it stops just short of that clinical therapy piece. And sometimes our parents and children do actually need that, and they want to talk to people that they could feel comfortable with that look like them. These two links here are the pages where if you know some African-American clinicians that want to be a part of offering services to the community and be paid by the county to do that, they can sign up, fill out the application on the first link. And the second link is actually if you are needing services, and it doesn't matter the age, it's open to children as well as TAY and adults, older adults. These are African-American clinicians working with our African-American community members.
Thank you so much. And just to point out, TAY stands for Transitional Aged Youth. So that's the 18 to 24 range. But really there's something for everyone, and we want these resources to be utilized. So I can't stress that enough. Please take us up on that. We can only move forward when we know that these are being utilized and we can expand and continue to grow. And so with that, I would like to invite my fellow Sierra Health partner in this, Mr. Ray Green, who leads the My Brother's Keeper Sacramento at the center at Sierra Health Foundation, to come and share a little bit about the work that he's doing.
Thanks, Amaya. As we all come in this fashion, I am truly humbled and honored to actually serve as the My Brother's Keeper Sacramento coordinator. When you hear of MBK, you could think of President Obama at the murder of Trayvon Martin, who said that could have been my son. As we all said, well, that could have been our son. That could have been someone in our mentoring program or our youth program. And it has been time and time and time again. So out of that birth, the My Brother's Keeper Sacramento Collaborative. And it's really a collaborative committed to educational, if we can go to the next slide, please, educational, health, social, and economic outcomes for local boys and men of color. And when we're talking about that, this is truly bringing system leaders, advocates, community members like yourselves, youth serving organization, many on the call today, and other young people to address these disparities that we see. And in my title, you always will see this when I'm on any panel or any time I have opportunity to speak. It's truly about changing the systems. As we come from the horror stories, the trauma that we've witnessed this entire year and for generations and centuries, we think about how do we begin to turn that hurt into hope. And part of that rage and turning that into action brings about possibilities for change. So our mission at MBK is to improve life outcomes for all boys and men of color here in Sacramento County. And there's a couple of ways that you can get involved. If you want to go on the link, or if you would like to follow us on Instagram, please do so. There's a lot of opportunities for you to get engaged. In the collaborative, where we set precedents on policies, procedures, and practices, removing those barriers that would limit and hinder all of our boys and men of color. Some of the work that you've heard happens to be around our justice reform, especially as our partners and public health advocates also passed, and the support of many partners on the call, the public safety resolutions will support youth, homeless, LGBTQIA, as well as the community at large to heal. And as we think through on this website, as you visit My Brother's Keeper, you can Google My Brother's Keeper Sacramento, you can find it. At the bottom there, we have mentors. We've served over 1,000 youth with our 10 mentoring organizations. We were tasked to expand mentoring and invest in curving all of the work that the Black Child Legacy has done with curving and reducing violence in Sacramento. We also have a youth fellowship, which is a 9-month leadership development program for change agents across county lines and across city lines to really be engaged. And if you want to be engaged, you can just go to the bottom right at the website and just click get involved. When you get involved, there's many opportunities for you to get involved. We need your support. We need your help. And I want to give this shout out to our partners at Public Health Advocates. If you are a youth serving organization, or if you're a young person yourself, a young adult, or you're a youth happen to be listening to this either currently or after this event, I want to encourage you that on May 5th, we will be hosting the My Brother's Keeper listening sessions to ask you about your mental health. What is mental health to you? Where do you find health at? We'll be giving out stipends, $25 stipends to those participants, as well as a $10 DoorDash stipend as well. So we want you to apply. You can find that on our website when you visit that. That'll be Wednesday, May 5th, and the time will be from 6 to 7:30 p.m. I want to pause because I know you've heard a lot so far. And as we move in this fashion on behalf of the Center at Sierra Health Foundation and Sierra Health, I want us to really just reflect on why we are here. So if we can go to the next slide, there are some questions that we want you to take a moment and engage in prior to me passing the mic over to Vince and he presents a poem. Prior to you even asking us some of the questions as panelists, we want to just take this moment and reflect and ask you this question and hashtag each response with hashtag We Heal Together. The first question is this: what activities do you find healing in? You've heard from many partners, some represented, but you may have an organization, you may have your own practices. We want to be able to gather that information. What do you find healing in? What activities do you find healing in? If you can type that in the chat, you can share that on your social media platforms and simply hashtag We Heal Together. We'd appreciate it. So we'll take about 10 seconds to hear from that. And then the second question, after you answer how you personally heal and where you find healing at, what are other organizations or other events that are happening possibly this week, possibly this month, or in the near future that we should all be aware of that actually bring healing to community? You've heard from some phenomenal partners on the call, but there are so many other Sacramento-based partners and organizations and events and activities that are happening. We want to hear about that. Put that in the chat, share that on your social media, and hashtag We Heal Together. We don't just grieve together, but we heal together. And I want to thank you, Amaya. I want to thank the Black Child Legacy and the Trauma Informed Wellness for really putting this on to give an opportunity and space to heal together. So as you're typing that, I just want to thank you all as well for participating. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ray. As you can see, our team is phenomenal. And we have so many, which is not a bad thing at all. We have so many events and resources and activities that the team is trying to figure out how to continuously get them out to you all. So just know they will be coming. We're going to pop some in the chat. Please be mindful of that. They will be coming in, those links. But this is, again, just the start of a conversation. And clearly, there's a lot more that we need to do. So we are healing together through this process. But I would, before we kind of move forward, I have to invite a very special guest who has taken a role of culture keeper for our group and has, we've asked him to come and share some of his poetry, some of his art with us today. Mr. Vince, can I formally introduce you now? I get excited, so I kind of jump ahead sometimes, but this is Mr. Vince Lewis.
Amaya, I just,
Can you guys hear me?
I'm sorry, this is Dr. Christie. Perhaps when Vince is done, I'll have an opportunity, like we talked about, Amaya, to talk about the
Yeah,
special
we're
Saturday, so.
we're not done with that.
Gotcha.
We will circle right back.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. I try not to write things about like slavery, but there's like a story to me in my mind of slavery that's untold. Oftentimes we watch slave movies, and they never really capture what the Black woman goes through in slavery. So I wrote this piece for every daughter, every niece, every grandma, every auntie, every mom, every queen. If I could paint truth in a picture, I would use my fingers in a string of earth tone complexions, masquerade in mocha dreams, dabble in chocolate browns, desert sands, forest greens, and in midnight blues, whistling in the wind, under southern skies on cotton fields like Negro spirituals, brushed over charcoal gray tears, choked from poisons, splashed on concrete, whip providing access to mental prisons, wilted mahogany flesh hidden behind walnut brown eyes, immersed in freedom mirages, simple cocoa butter lips to taste the sweet wet of firm harvest gold peaches, swallow cores, wallow in an innocent blood sea. I stomach this thought for no other reason but to understand, to try to understand the normalities of a 13-year-old slave girl, 15 children of her own pillaged by the master's tongue, stroked by oppression's erection, auctioned off like belongings, but not ever belonging. Her children have been sprinkled from one plantation to another. The vicious cycle still spins today precisely from its axis, directly aligned with the moon and the stars. So we get on our knees, we pray to a God that we simply cohere. She and I, our spirits frolic in the same measure. She is Miss Roberts, she is Amaya, she is Veronica, she is Christy, she is any queen that looks like me. What would you do if somebody dangled yourself directly in front of you? Me, I would simply choose to paint. I will paint truth in the picture. I will use my fingers in a string of earth tone complexions, masquerading mocha dreams, dabbling chocolate browns, desert sands, forest greens, and midnight blues, whistling in the wind under southern skies on cotton fields, like Negro spirituals. Ashe.
Ashe. Thank you so much. Whew. Ashe, ashe.
Can I share a small piece? I had a meeting with our team, Miss Roberts, Veronica, Miss D, Mr. Roberts, Rachel, and I forget who else was in the meeting with us, but it was the day I think the verdict happened. And so I wrote this small piece. Our chalk outlines are like comic books, perfectly painted in paradigms, brushstrokes, martyrs, transitioning into ancestors far too early, children even. Colorful relics dancing from trees where strange fruit once hung as ornaments. So the cage bird sings because words feel just like lashes. Wings are simply for freedom. Loosen your nooses and cut yourselves down. That day, Ms. Roberts said something that affected me so profoundly. And it was so simple. She said, that day, we did not get justice, we got accountability. I'm done.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Shay. What does this look like right now? Right. Mm, 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 mm. So there are quite a few people who would like to share resources, but again, Dr. Christie has one that is available for you all, and Safe Black Space has just they dropped it in the link in the chat, but there's an open invitation, and I'm going to pass it off to Dr. Christie to explain a little further.
Thank you. I will be brief, but did want to just thank everybody for all the contributions that have been made, and especially Vince, and just honoring us and everyone with your spoken word. There's a lot to be done, and yet as a community, we can do it. And so I'm grateful for that. I did want to provide an opportunity. Today was amazing, right? To be able to spend this time together, to hear some tools, to pray together. But oftentimes it can be very helpful to have an opportunity to speak and to share beyond just chat. And so we have been invited and asked to host a special Safe Black Space, a community healing circle. And so we wanted to make sure that those of you who got something out of today, or who've been to one of our circles before, that we had an opportunity to come together again. And so this Saturday, April 24th, from 6 to 7:30 p.m., we'll be hosting a circle on Zoom. Again, these are for people who identify as Black, who want to come together as a family to continue to process, to heal, to discuss, to vent, to do whatever we need to do to continue with our own process of getting through this and then continuing to move forward. So in the chat box is a link where you can go and connect with this particular flyer. And if you're interested in joining us, get registered and come. We invite you to come. The other thing I wanted to just note is we are really pleased. It's been an honor to be part of the work that is happening through the center as well as Sacramento County. And as a result of that, we've been offering a 4-part webinar series. We are on our last one, and this would probably be one of the best ones you could come to if you enjoyed today. It will be, I'll show you the specific slide, but I did want you to know we've been doing a series. And if you came to the first one on mental health that I did, or the one that was the second one that our brother Ryan McClinton did, by the way, let's send him good love. If you know him, he and Ebony Chambers are getting married today. Ryan had a chance to do that one. Our third one was on compassion, fatigue, and you, which Dr. Jacqueline Allison provided this past Tuesday. And our next one will be on self-care for Black community caregivers, folks that are on the ground, working with community, doing the social justice advocacy work. And I know that's all the grantees that are here, plus many people that are listening. That's on this coming Tuesday, the 27th. Let me point that out. From 6 to 8 p.m. And you can register. If you go to our website, you can find all the information for these resources. But the reason I bring it up is if you came to one of our previous webinars, we're offering a training of trainers so that people who are interested in taking this back to their organizations, their families, their communities can begin to spread the word and continue to heal our folks in our communities. The last thing I'll mention is we do Safe Black Space right now every second Saturday online virtually. So our next regular circle is on Saturday, May 8th from 3 to 4:30 p.m. And we'll put all of this information in the chat, but we invite you to become part of our family as we continue to heal and be available for our world and for each other. So thank you, Maya.
Thank you, Dr. Christie. And I want to now pass it off to my sister in this work, Latajane Ho, who is with Sierra Health Foundation as well. And she will help take us into a Q&A because we would love to hear more from you all. And we have some experts at your attendance. So Latajane.
Thank you, Amaya, and thank you to everyone. I'm really feeling blessed and grateful to be in this space with all of you. I think the main takeaway that I was getting is to find comfort in your communities and start the healing process when you're ready. And that being said, we'd like to use some time to give everyone an opportunity to ask any questions you may have about all of the wonderful resources and programs shared. You're also welcome to share any thoughts, feelings, appreciations as well. For those of you watching on Zoom, please feel free to utilize the chat box or the Q&A section. And for those of you tuning in on Facebook Live, feel free to comment because I'm also monitoring that section as well. I know a question that I've seen in the chat box was, is there an age requirement for the mentoring services?
You're on mute.
If they are specifically talking about My Brother's Keeper mentoring, the only age limit goes up to 18 that we serve right now, but anybody can be a mentor. This is my daughter, Destiny. She's also looking for other mentors as well. Mrs. Roberts is the first. She came through a doula program as well. But to answer the question, we have 10 mentoring organizations providing mentoring at school sites and in the community. You can find that on the link. You can find out exactly where in those communities they'll be serving and what age groups they'll be serving, all the way from elementary through high school. And then we also have our youth fellowship, which goes for 16 to 20-year-olds as well.
Thank you. That was my question. I wanted to know how young they could be. So thank you for that.
And does anyone else want to share specifically in regarding to their programs about the age requirements?
Dr. Christie, is there an age for Safe Black Space?
Not too young. We typically, I think our youngest attendee has been 10, 11 years old.
Okay.
You know, you want to have some level of maturity to talk about these kinds of issues. So middle schoolish, you know, the parent or caregiver can
High school.
kind of, yeah. And again, sometimes middle schoolers, if they're a little more mature, but yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, another question from Amaya. What are things that led all of you to this work? Whoever wants to start off.
I think I'll start this one off. I've been crying and getting choked up all this whole time, so just excuse me for my raw, like, transparency and honesty, because I really feel like in my spirit, what led me to this work was God. It really wasn't, I didn't think I would come into this space, but just everything that I've been through in my life and that trauma and that generational trauma has led me to somehow be a light and a beacon for people, especially my young adults and people my age group. And my heart goes out to the families who have dealt with police brutality, not just here in Sacramento County, but just across the nation. And I didn't realize, Dr. Christie, that initial just cry out just brought something like out, right? That I feel like the nation is having. And what came to my thought process was, in that meditative state, was mental health resources and support is a public health crisis, especially because of the pandemic. Same thing with racism being a public health crisis as well among our community. I can relate to seeing our young people, especially nationally, being killed by police, because with this work, I've witnessed the babies I've helped grow up and nurture in this community become adults, and then they don't make it to 21 because they get shot by their peers or they get shot by the police. And the young lady after the verdict, I call her Sister Bryant, the way she was murdered, I say murdered, the way she was murdered reminded me of the young folks that I've worked with, finding resources, supporting the family. It triggered me back to that space, because how many more people in our community have to go through that, right? Like, she was a foster youth. I think of the young ladies and young men who are going through foster care that we've had to unify back with their family or somebody close to them to get them to feel supported. I really really feel like mental health support services within our county is a public health crisis. And I am honored to be in a space where, as a young person, be brought up by so many amazing people who have been doing the work in the county, in the state alone, that are passionate about it, right? It builds that fire. And for me, I've always been mature for my age. I've always kind of been the wise one, the only girl out of 5 brothers, but that mama figure, right? But my heart is heavy because I really feel like the song says, we're gonna make it through. It's gonna be a better day. It's gonna be another fight, but like we're surviving and thriving. In my mind, I have to remind myself that our people are surviving and thriving through this, right? Like healing can come and it is available for us to have it. And in my depth of depth, what brought me to this work really is, for some reason, I feel full when my families are nourished and taken care of, and they're able to come back to me. I had a family come to me that said, thank you for that counselor, because my daughter now is finally opening up to me on what she's really feeling like. And we've been she didn't know, she was like, through the pandemic, I would have never thought my daughter could get depression. But with this therapist, this female of color speaking to her and pouring into her, she's finally speaking out, using her voice. And that's what pushes me to keep moving forward with this work. Don't get me wrong. Some days I literally break down and just cry when I know I see a family that can make it. And it just, the work just stops, right? The action plan just stops. Everything I've poured into just stops. And it makes me feel heavy, but I know that I've sparked somebody to get better, right? I've sparked somebody who wants to help. I've sparked them to do better in their life. So like I said, and I can't keep saying enough, like it sits on my mind, mental health services and support is a public health crisis. Sorry, I got on my soapbox. Let me get off.
I think to underscore that, Veronica, Amaya, I think it's important to normalize that we as African-American people need therapy. It's not just for white people. It's not just for rich people. It's not just for crazy people. We all crazy people because we've all had some very traumatic experiences, some life-altering, changing things that have changed how we see and feel and hear and understand. We have to really begin to normalize mental health.
Ashe, tell the truth, sister. Preach.
We need to remove the stigma. It is not weakness to go to therapy. It is not weak. It's not weak to have a need to talk to somebody about what you're going through. I cannot stress enough. We have to normalize for our children, for our young people, for our adults, for our older adults to go to therapy. It's strength in therapy. There's hope in therapy. There's help in therapy. Just to be understood and heard, we have to start even putting the seed in our young people, because we're going to need a nation of younger generations to become therapists, to become psychologists, to become psychiatrists who can prescribe medication, who understand the history of Black culture, that ain't just giving us medication so we could be sitting in a room drooling. We need African Americans in this business of mental health to continue helping our people from a perspective of understanding and having lived through it. So it cannot be underscored. In the schools, we have 2 youth programs now in the schools where we're trying to bring knowledge and information to young people and encourage them, their curiosity about mental health, so that they become therapists and social workers and addiction counselors and psychologists and psychiatrists and case managers in order to help our communities. Because like Miss Jackie, I'm not gonna be another 30 years. I'm gonna be rocking in my chair, thanking God how I made it over. But I'm gonna need some others, young people, those that are in high school now, to encourage them to go on to college, go to college and get this knowledge and information in order to help our communities live and thrive and survive.
Amen. As a African-centered psychologist, we need more of us doing the work. Thank you, Ms.
Ma'am.
Deborah.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, and thank you so much, LaTaja. I want to be mindful that it is 5:34. To close us out, well, before I close us out, I just want to leave any last words. Please put them in the chat. Kendra, yes.
I just want to say thank you. I want to say, first and foremost, thank you to the team for pushing this and making sure that this event, Amaya, your leadership is incredible. Your facilitation skills are incredible. I'm so excited for our community to get to know you better and get to know that these type of events, this type of healing, let's put it out there so we can continue to connect the dots is, I think, what you do best. Thank you, LaTaja, Ray, Monica, for always having our back, Erica, and just for all of the team here, the new trauma-informed wellness partners. Many of you we know already, but to see this part of the puzzle come together has been incredible. And Deborah, thank you for keeping on us, right? You are one inside team member when it comes to that. And of course, just much love to you guys. Just thank you for putting this into our community. It means a lot. Tremendous, fantastic job, y'all.
Thank you so much, Kendra, and thank you to the whole Sierra Hope team and everybody coming together last minute. We have to be responsive when things happen, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. We have to be able to be accessible and make sure that people can access this help because it is here, it's for us, and it's by us. So let's take it on. So with that, thank you all so much for your time, for your energy, for your thoughts and consideration and whatever you shared in this space. All right, we wish you well. Honored to be with you all as well. Ashe. Thank you.